So the NCAA transfer portal officially opened for undergrads on Tuesday, I believe it was
Monday.
just Tuesday, April 16th. And on Wednesday, we get news that Notre Dame is hosting a Rice defensive back. Seems like a versatile corner. Tre'shon Devones, 6 foot, 187 pounds from Duncanville, has played, let's see, true freshman walk on in 2019, earned scholarship during training camp, made 2 starts in 2020, uh, returned, or excuse me, did not see action in 2021 while recuperating from an injury, played in 2022, and 2023 had a breakout year. So I will let someone else go through and determine the COVID year, injury year. I don't know. Maybe he's got 2 years left to play. Who knows? But Tim, Notre Dame again hosting this 6 foot, 187-pound corner from Rice on campus Thursday. So Tim, tell us about. I look, Tim. I know you haven't been able to watch this film yet, so we're gonna do that together. So just give us your thoughts on first Notre Dame looking at a corner from the transfer portal. I think this has got a large part due to Clarence Lewis transferring out, and then anything that jumps out to you when you're watching this film.
Yeah, I mean, I looked him up. Obviously, he's had a bunch of injuries and whatnot. I see some people talking in the chat about Duncanville. Exactly, really good high school football. Where he came from. I mean, he looks obviously like a kid who played big time high school football in Texas. He could run around and looks really good coverage and whatnot. Had a really good year. I saw some of his stats from last year, and I know people don't like PFF, whatever. I mean, it's just a data point, as Mike Singer says. Really good numbers per PFF. So, take that however you want it. It's not like he's a stiff. Good solid stats, good solid season. Tell you what, though, man, when I see news like this, Mike, where my brain goes is Ben Morrison. That's just literally what is that shoulder? I mean, they're taking another 6-year DB.
Yeah.
So that's the next question is, obviously, they're going to take an older guy because what are the odds of Hobbs and Leonard Moore playing? Very low because they weren't there in spring, even though Morrison and Lewis were summer guys. We'll see how that happens. Is Micah Bell not? These are just things I was thinking about today when I saw. Is Micah Bell not transitioning good enough at the nickel to be either a backup or is he needed at corner, so to speak? Obviously, Hurd played corner at Northwestern. They're recruiting him as a safety. So, man, the DBs, there's a lot of athletes, a lot of really good football players on that back end. But it's still, to me, it still feels, it's that Ben Morrison, man. Still feels a little jumbled of what's going to happen back there.
So I think I talked about this last week about if Notre Dame was going to go into the portal, it was going to be depending on what they lost and who they lost. So maybe on Morrison, but I think this could be both. You lose Lewis, and it's just a good insurance piece if Morrison, if he does struggle to, or if his return is a bit of a struggle, because if Morrison's healthy, you get Jaden Mickey and Christian Gray, and then Tre'shon Devones here. I mean, this kid looks really good on tape.
No,
I mean, he can run. He's good size at 6 foot, just under 190 pounds. Seems to break on the ball well. Like, seems like a pretty good corner. So if Morrison's healthy and this guy's like your number 4 corner, sounds pretty damn good to me. Exactly. Yeah, we'll see.
That's what Lewis was going to be. Lewis was always going to be that 4th corner. So, because I mean, they're not. I highly doubt they're expecting the 2 freshmen to come in and play. But it's a numbers thing too. That goes back. I mean, we'll talk about this down the road with recruiting. That's why the DB class this year in 2025 could be massive, because I think Notre Dame needs a huge influx of numbers. They run a 3-corner defense. I mean, you're going nickel and 2 corners, but they're only recruiting 2 corners. So there's bodies that are needed. And obviously they've had to go to the portal for that the last couple of years. And here they are now going for a 6-year guy. That's why I was like, if you're going for a 6-year, that means Micah Bell and the 2 freshmen are going to just keep developing, keep waiting. We're going to get an experienced guy, but this is the Mike Singer. I mean, you've talked about this, Mike, where if you could get an older dude, a guy that's some battle wounds on his resume, he's going to come in and help you for the 12 plus games. It's hard to pass him up.
Yeah.
And I think that's on their mindset as well.
For a first time on the Notre Dame football show, Pod Like a Champion here, we're talking about punter news. And Bryce McPherson hit the portal. Was Notre Dame starting punter last year, Tim? I feel like if you don't think about the punter play, that means the punter's doing a good job, right? I can't think of any really bad punting moments. I'm sure I'm about to get roasted in the YouTube comments for that, Tim, but he was fine last year, right?
He was solid. Nothing great, nothing spectacular. Some of his stats, he didn't have the greatest hang time. Like when you start diving into PFF, he was really low ranked in some stuff, but he wasn't shanking them and things of that nature. Just a solid punter, nothing out of the ordinary. So
what was your reaction to this news? Because I don't know if you've seen kind of my take on this. And I'll be honest, I haven't really been calling up sources a ton to get the insight here. Because to be completely honest, if I'm going to call up sources, I'd rather ask about things that aren't a punter. So I have a take on it.
Sure.
But I want to hear yours first, Tim. Why? You have a starting punter who was good last year. Why are you losing him to the portal?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I thought a little selfish here. Like, okay, you got 85 scholarship. Literally, my first thing was like, okay, since Freeman's here, he's not giving scholarships out to anyone. So if he's got someone, down there in one of the halls that's walking on, or heck, they got a dude from the Army. Mike, they got a guy who last punted in 2015. So you want to talk about 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th year?
He's my age, dude.
COVID years. You got a guy who had spent, which I forgot all about him, when he came aboard. Now he's the name of the week. So he last kicked in 2015. So if he's out there and he's punting 40 yards, McPherson's punting 40 yards, Freeman's probably, I could save a couple $100,000 and save that spot for a DB, a D end. If anyone wants to listen, please use that for a D end. But that's what I first thought about. Like, he's just cleaning house, so to speak, getting down to 85, rolling from there. But he's not like he's an All-American kicker and looking to future NFL and whatnot. Seriously, I don't know what you said. I haven't read anything.
It's very, very similar. And here for folks watching on YouTube is Eric Goins. He's listed as a graduate student / senior, maybe senior citizen. He's 30 years old.
Okay.
He's 30.
That's awesome.
So
number 90. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, 90, representing his age. But seriously, my take on that. So someone just in the YouTube comments, I think it was Jay Carr, said he just got beat out. No scholarships for specialists. They do kicker, right? We're having a new kicker every year. But punter, John Sott, I think, was a walk-on.
Yeah, walk-on.
The thing is, I think it's punters and long snappers. It's walk-ons. And I think they'll do the 1-year rental for a long snapper, unless you have, Vincent who can be here forever. That would be great. But yeah, so it's to me, it shows that Notre Dame is not putting punters and long snappers on scholarship. The last punter that Notre Dame has not signed any other underclass. They don't do underclassmen.
No.
Okay. Let me start over here. Notre Dame hasn't signed any scholarship specialists since Freeman became head coach. McPherson in the 2022 class kind of got grandfathered in as the Kelly recruit, but otherwise they're just not doing it. So there you go.
He's got a philosophy. They're recruiting a philosophy. This is what we're going to do this day and age. Freeman came aboard, obviously, boom, when everything changed with the portal, and now it's unbelievable roster management 12 months a year. So it's like, hey, this is how we're going to use our 85 spots. are walk-on spots. Stick to it. That's the way I look at it. So yeah, it was a good conversation that they had. Maybe he was struggling in practice, and they had a nice little chit chat and went from there. And life happens. No, I was stunned because I mean, here we are, Mike, as we're talking about. I mean, how many times we have this conversation? Well, we're fans. Oh man, Notre Dame's got the 85. They're going to get the 85. That's never an issue at Notre Dame. So this was not one I think we had on the 5 or 6 transfers,
just
right?
because you don't think about it. You just don't think about it.
No,
But it
not
makes sense when you do think about it.
Yes.
So Notre Dame has Eric Goins, I would assume, is the guy. Maybe they bring in, it's not like at quarterback where you need to bring the guy in early. It's a punter. So you could bring him in this summer.
No, I was going to say real quick, they're offering Ivy League guys to come aboard. A bunch of walk-on guys that are, got a year of eligibility come Notre
like
Dame.
John Stott, just like
exactly. And they're offering a bunch of DBs. So boom, I'm sure there's a kicker out there from Cornell and Yale. Come on, kick for a year.
Yeah.
There you go.